The drama exploded in a way no one expected, and suddenly, the royal soap opera that the world thought had cooled down was roaring back to life with shocking twists, bruised egos, and a decision that left even seasoned royal watchers stunned. Because just when it looked like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were trying to keep a lower profile, whispers began swirling about something explosive happening behind the gates of their Montecito mansion. And then the bombshell dropped. Meghan had allegedly marched straight into their children's elite private school and pulled their files without warning, a move many insiders instantly labeled a calculated act of revenge after King Charles reportedly slammed the door on Harry's desperate financial request. It was the kind of dramatic move that made people across the internet gasp and ask the same question. Was this really about privacy and parenting? Or was it the latest chapter in a growing war between the Sussexes and the royal family? The controversy intensified when the daytime talk show panel on The View began tearing apart the entire saga, turning what might have been a quiet family decision into a full-blown international spectacle. The panel didn't hold back. They dissected everything: the couple's finances, the children's education, their recent Jordan trip, and Harry's reported attempt to ask King Charles for financial support. According to the discussion, insiders claim the couple may be scrambling to secure millions just to maintain their extravagant lifestyle in California, with one commentator bluntly declaring that the Sussexes appear to be in full cash crisis mode. Suddenly, the glamorous image of the couple that once dazzled Hollywood and royal watchers began to crack under intense scrutiny. The conversation painted a picture of mounting expenses and shrinking opportunities. There were references to legal battles draining money, the massive mortgage on their Montecito mansion, and a lifestyle that reportedly costs millions every year just to maintain. And at the center of the storm was Harry's alleged appeal to King Charles for help covering the astronomical costs of raising royal children in America, including elite school tuition that reportedly runs tens of thousands of dollars per child annually. But instead of sympathy, the response from the panel was brutal. The narrative that emerged suggested Harry had tried to reconnect with the royal family for financial stability, only to be met with a cold refusal from the palace. According to reports discussed during the segment, Charles allegedly rejected the idea of subsidizing the Sussex lifestyle, insisting that royal funds would not be used for what critics called personal extravagances. And that rejection, many believe, may have triggered the dramatic school decision that shocked observers. Meghan's move to withdraw Archie and Lilibet from their prestigious school became the next lightning rod in the unfolding controversy. Publicly, the decision was framed as a shift toward homeschooling, a method embraced by many celebrities seeking privacy and flexibility for their children. But critics immediately questioned the timing, pointing out that the withdrawal reportedly happened only days after Harry's financial appeal to Charles was rejected. The talk show host went even further, suggesting the homeschooling explanation might simply be a carefully crafted public narrative meant to mask deeper tensions and financial pressures. Homeschooling, they argued, requires a structured environment, planning, tutors, and constant parental involvement, and skeptics wondered how that would work for a couple constantly traveling between international appearances, charity events, and high-profile public engagements. The criticism didn't stop there. The panel began drawing sharp comparisons between Meghan and Catherine, Princess of Wales, portraying Catherine as the calm and traditional royal figure while presenting Meghan as someone whose ambitions collided with royal reality. It was a comparison designed to ignite controversy, fueling the ongoing cultural battle between supporters of the Sussexes and defenders of the monarchy. But the situation became even more dramatic when the discussion shifted to the Sussexes' recent trip to Jordan. What was supposed to be a humanitarian visit suddenly became another lightning rod for criticism. Commentators questioned why the couple spent lavishly on travel and security during a time when their finances were allegedly under pressure. The trip reportedly cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, raising eyebrows among critics who argued the spending contradicted the narrative of financial struggle. Even more awkward were the reports that the couple did not meet Jordan's King Abdullah II or Queen Rania during the visit, something many observers found strange given the diplomatic importance of such engagements. The absence of royal meetings fueled speculation that the Sussexes' influence on the global royal stage may not be what it once appeared to be. Meanwhile, footage from the trip was scrutinized frame by commentators looking for signs of tension. Observers debated how Harry's demeanor, Meghan's interactions with locals, and whether the visit felt genuine or carefully staged for publicity. Critics described the trip as a quasi-royal tour, implying the couple was attempting to maintain royal prestige despite stepping back from official duties years earlier. As the discussion intensified, the panel began connecting all these events into a larger narrative: the cash pressure, the rejected royal support, the school withdrawal, and the Jordan trip. Each piece was treated like another clue in a mystery about what might really be happening behind the scenes in Montecito. And suddenly the story wasn't just about homeschooling anymore. It became a larger question about the Sussexes' future. Would they find new financial success in Hollywood? Would relations with the royal family ever recover? Or were these dramatic headlines the beginning of a deeper unraveling of the once promising royal rebellion that shocked the world in 2020? Because the truth is, every move Harry and Meghan make now seems to trigger massive reactions. Supporters said they are victims of relentless scrutiny and unfair criticism. Critics argue they continue to provoke drama while trying to maintain royal influence without royal responsibility. And in the middle of all that chaos are two young children whose lives are now part of one of the most watched family dramas on the planet. But just when the panel thought they had dissected every twist in the story, an even bigger question began circulating behind the scenes. If King Charles has truly closed the financial door, and if the Sussex lifestyle really is under pressure, then what happens next for Harry and Meghan? Because insiders are quietly warning that the most explosive chapter of this royal feud may still be coming. The deeper the discussion went, the more brutal the picture became. Because what initially sounded like a dramatic parenting decision slowly started looking like a desperate survival strategy. According to the heated analysis that followed, the Sussex household may be facing a financial storm far more serious than anyone previously imagined. Commentators began laying out the numbers like investigators exposing a scandal, and suddenly the glamorous Montecito lifestyle started looking less like a royal dream and more like a ticking financial time bomb. Insiders claim the couple could be scrambling to secure as much as $20 million just to stabilize their finances, with major income streams drying up while expenses keep exploding. The blockbuster success of Harry's memoir had already peaked years earlier. The massive streaming partnership that once promised endless wealth is reportedly nearing its end without confirmation of renewal, and filings connected to their foundation allegedly showed millions in operational losses. The panel made it sound like the Sussexes had built a lifestyle designed for billionaires while operating with income streams that may no longer support that scale of spending. One host began breaking down the financial burn rate in a way that made the entire situation feel almost surreal. And the Montecito mansion still carries a massive mortgage with monthly payments reportedly exceeding $80,000. And that's before even touching the security bill, which alone is said to run into the millions every year. Then there are staff salaries, public relations teams, travel costs, legal battles, and the constant need to maintain a global public profile. Add elite school tuition and luxury travel into the mix, and the numbers become staggering. According to the discussion, Harry's ongoing legal battle with the Daily Mail could potentially expose him to millions more in legal costs if the judgment goes against him later this year. The math painted by the panel sounded brutal, a lifestyle that might require tens of millions annually just to keep running smoothly. And that is exactly where the King Charles drama returned to center stage. Commentators suggested Harry's attempt to reestablish financial support from the royal family may have been driven by these mounting pressures. Reports discussed on the show claim Harry had quietly floated the idea of partial royal duties in exchange for financial stability, but the palace allegedly refused to entertain the possibility. The refusal reportedly became even harsher when Harry asked whether the royal family might help cover the children's school costs. According to palace leaks referenced in the discussion, the response was clear and unforgiving. No public funds would be used to maintain the private lifestyle the Sussexes chose when they stepped away from royal duties. That rejection, critics believe, was the spark that triggered the school drama that now dominates headlines. Pulling Archie and Lilibet out of their elite school suddenly looked less like a carefully planned educational strategy and more like a rapid financial adjustment disguised as a lifestyle choice. Meghan's public explanation centered around homeschooling, privacy, and protecting the children from media attention. But the panel suggested the move could also conveniently eliminate enormous tuition costs that reportedly ran into six figures every year. And that theory ignited even more controversy because homeschooling at the level expected for celebrity families is not cheap either. Hiring private tutors, designing advanced curriculum programs, and maintaining structured education can cost well over $100,000 annually if done properly. Then the conversation swung back to the Jordan trip, and suddenly the optics looked even worse. Critics argued that spending $500,000 on a 2-day international visit while facing potential financial strain made the situation appear reckless. The breakdown discussed during the segment suggested the trip may have cost around $200,000 for private jet travel alone, another large chunk for enhanced security, and the rest on luxury hotels, logistics, and protocol arrangements. To critics watching from the outside, the optics were devastating. A couple allegedly struggling financially yet still flying across the world in elite luxury. Even more explosive was the diplomatic fallout that reportedly followed the visit. Buckingham Palace issued a rare statement warning that unofficial royal-style engagements by former working royals could blur diplomatic lines and create confusion internationally. The statement was widely interpreted as a direct rebuke of the Jordan trip, suggesting that Harry and Meghan's presence had complicated existing relationships that the British royal family carefully maintains abroad. Commentators described it as one of the clearest signals yet that the palace intends to distance itself from the Sussex brand entirely. And then came the predictions about the future, and this is where the tone became almost apocalyptic for the Sussexes. Analysts suggested King Charles might respond to the growing controversies by tightening restrictions even further, potentially issuing clearer rules preventing Harry and Meghan from conducting quasi-royal visits that resemble official diplomatic tours. Others predicted the real reckoning could arrive during the reign of Prince William, with speculation that William may eventually strip remaining titles or privileges once he becomes king. The conversation circled back repeatedly to Meghan's public image and how dramatically it has shifted over the past decade. Once portrayed as the glamorous outsider who captured a prince's heart, she is now described by critics as someone stubbornly clinging to royal status long after stepping away from the institution that granted it. Commentators said the contrast with Catherine, Princess of Wales, has become even sharper, fueling a narrative battle between two very different versions of modern royal life. But behind all the speculation, the financial debates, and the royal comparisons, the core of the controversy remained painfully simple. Harry and Meghan once promised to build a new life independent of royal funding and royal control. Yet the discussion on The View suggested the reality of that independence might be far more difficult than anyone expected. With huge expenses, fading media deals, and growing distance from the royal family, the Sussexes may now find themselves in the most complicated chapter of their story yet. And if the panel's predictions are even partially correct, the real storm may not have arrived yet. Because if money pressures continue, if palace relations remain frozen, and if public perception keeps shifting, the Sussex saga could be heading toward a moment far more dramatic than a school withdrawal or a controversial trip abroad. The royal rebellion that once captivated the world might soon face its ultimate test.